All right.
This meeting is being recorded.
Yeah, very warm welcome. It's
So,
Andy.
yeah.
It's Two Peas and a podcast with my good friend Tim, author Timothy Spearman on Google. Writer of many books, Tim, and published loads, but yeah, life has got in his way, unfortunately, and they're not selling very well because of not authors, the publishers that are very greedy. So, but the truth is out there. Um, and he's got a website as well, shakespearecodex.com. There you go, buddy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And thank you to Andy for the website. This website is state of the art, 10 times better than any website I've ever had. Please visit the website because it's got a wealth of material on there, all state of the art, thanks to Andy.
I'll put the links at the bottom of the show.
Great. There's this article in the New American that really needs to be shared. It's about world government. And, Zbigniew Brzezinski, who was the national security advisor in the U.S., wrote a book called Beyond Two Worlds, in which he envisioned a technocratic government, a technocratic society completely governed by AI, and we're there now. And this is what this article is about.
And before you start, the lady behind me she's AI.
There you go.
I mean, I've had somebody on about AI. We did a program, and I think it's 50-50. If AI is used properly, it's going to help certain people. I mean, like small radio hosts, small publishers, if they want to get some fancy artwork or some words translated into something business-like, AI is good for you, but AI can't be good for everyone, especially if the governments are using it. Anyway, you're after.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the artist has got to have their voice, and the soul of the artist has to be expressed, and AI can't do that. And yeah, I mean, it serves its purpose if it can enhance the process of creation in some way, maybe, but if it replaces the artist, whether it be a musician or a novelist or a short story writer or whatever, that can't be good.
No, absolutely. Creations come from the heart, from visual, from all your perceptions. It doesn't come from a computer.
Well, yeah, it shouldn't. Let's put it that way. Okay, bro. So as far as this New American article, it's delving into this problem of AI leading to world governance, and what kind of a world governance are we going to have? In 2025, sounding the alarm of a world government threat is no longer fringe theory. It may not be completely mainstream, but it is far more common than it was, say, a decade ago. So, popular publications and podcasts with millions of followers regularly mention global governance as a foregone conclusion. Well, we've been hearing about global governance for what? Since Zbigniew Brzezinski's book Beyond Between Two Worlds. But, numerous books and publications have been coming out talking about global governance. And when Klaus Schwab co-authored his book on the COVID-19 pandemic with an academic. The two authors, the co-authors, talked about global governance. And the way the pouched, it made it seem like the pandemic created an opportunity. Well, yeah, for opportunists like them, it sure did. The World Economic Forum didn't just seize on an opportunity. They planned the whole goddamn thing. Let's be honest. They did. It was planned. It was a plandemic. We've been hearing a lot about that. I've stated it in my book, The Science of the COVID-19 Pandemic. I stated it unequivocally in all of the articles I wrote about the COVID-19 pandemic. So, they just seized upon it because they had planned it. I mean, if the World Economic Forum was behind the funding of the germ game for the pandemic that was held in October of 2020, just a few months before the World Health Organization announced a worldwide lockdown for the pandemic. What does that tell you? WEF funded it, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation funded it. That germ game. And Gates is a WEF member, right? So there you go. All right. So, moreover, people from all over the world with all sorts of political and religious views and who run the gamut of educational backgrounds have come to terms with what has been obvious to many for more than half a century. The globalists, bold overreaching during the Operation COVID-19 around the world. Yeah, sure did. Due to the internet's ability to broadcast information to every corner of the world, COVID tyranny awakened many to the malevolent nature and intentions of the people in power. Yeah, I mean, why did we have a truckers convoy here in Canada going to Ottawa to protest during the pandemic? Because we could see the lockdown was tyranny and was going to lead to totalitarian tyranny in perpetuity in our country unless something was done. And of course, the fascist Trudeau, who pretends to be a liberal and is nothing but a fascist, he imposed martial law on the country because he's a copycat of his father, because he's not a man and doesn't have any political acumen. So he has to copycat everything his father ever did because he's not man enough or intelligent enough to do anything under his own volition. And thank God that son of a bitch is gone. But I'm not sure that we have anything better under the new prime minister. It's still fascism. There you go. I don't know. Or is it communism? It's totalitarianism, that's for sure. All right, so one of the people who's been speaking out about the world government threat is Professor John Lennox, an Irish Christian apologist from England with an extensive academic background. Lennox earned a master's in mathematics from the University of Cambridge and doctorates in philosophy from Cambridge and the University of Oxford, where he's a professor emeritus of mathematics. He works as a lecturer at the Royal School of Armagh in Northern Ireland and Emmanuel College at Cambridge. Lennox also spent 2 years as a fellow in Germany. When he's not lecturing, debating with atheists, or speaking with podcasters, Lennox writes books. Most of them are about Christian topics, but he's also taken a deep interest in artificial intelligence, mainly because of end times prophecy, I believe. So, two of the most recent books combine both interests. The New American spoke to Lennox following the release of his latest book, God, AI, and the End of History, Understanding the Book of Revelation in an Age of Intelligent Machines is the subtitle. Before that, Lennox had re-released an updated version of his first book on AI, titled 2084, a kind of parody of George Orwell's dystopian 1984 novel. 284 argues in part that AI has unprecedented potential to bring about world government. Lennox said during the interview with New American, "You have the real sense that AI is giving people a new kind of power." His knowledge of AI and familiarity with the Bible are the reasons Lennox believes in the existence of a plot for a satanic one world government. Well, yeah, we've talked about this on the show with our two P's in a podcast show several times. The Shabbat and the Team Antichrist has been planning this world government for some time, and its headquarters is going to be in Israel, the Antichrist state of Israel, with the Antichrist installed on the throne in Jerusalem by October of 2028, exerting his worldwide totalitarian influence through AI, through the super beast Antichrist computer, for worldwide surveillance, worldwide totalitarian control, and that is global governance. And they talk about the partnership, and this is something that WEF founder Klaus Schwab got into in his book, COVID-19 Pandemic, with his co-author. He talked about the strategic partnership between private enterprise and public, private and public being in cahoots with each other. Well, that's corporatism, and it was called fascism back in the day. And I believe that they're fusing communism and fascism to create a kind of totalitarianism we've never seen before, maybe called communitarianism, perhaps. So, what do you think, Andy? You think this is emerging in the UK with all the nonsense that's been happening with migration posing a threat, not in and of itself, but the divide and rule strategy of the government? Or is it the deep state? I really think it's the deep state that's behind what's happening in.
Well, I think it's
But
yeah. I don't know if that's what you call it. It probably is what you call it, because I've called it a deep state before. Basically, from a people who are listening point of view, we've managed to inherit a government that used to be a reasonable government, but the leaders now seem to be tied to the wrong people around the world, and now we've got ourselves a horrible government. Having said that, no government is any good for us at the moment. So I think we need a start again, rewind and start again. And, some people want Nigel Farage, but I think he's got a few self-centered ideas, which isn't going to be good for no one. Then there's some people want Britain first. Well, he seems to be okay, but the one guy that I think could run the country really good,
Mhm.
Rupert Lowe. Now, he fell out with Nigel Farage of the Reform Party because his ideas were different to Nigel's, but not on a, he didn't, what's that word, when you think you're better than somebody else. So Rupert, sorry, fell out with Nigel. They had some great policies together and it would have been dynamite together. But because they're falling out now, I think Rupert Lowe will be the next leader in his new party. But we'll have to see. We've had grannies being bashed, farmers being they took all the inheritance off the farmers through taxes. They basically done to the farmers what they did to the lorry drivers in Canada. They're pushing them. Well, they're basically pushing everybody that works into a hole. You know, tax this, tax that. I mean, they're getting blamed at the moment for the migration problem and for helping people on welfare benefits and the old people. But they always used to help the people on benefit, the people who are old. But the government really is shocking. Oh, we had another Tommy Robertson event yesterday, sorry, Saturday,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know how the guy thinks, but he's exactly like me. I mean, I thought when I was younger, block the motorways, get the farmers involved. Yeah, he never did that. But one thing I was thinking about when I was younger, if you can't sort of beat them policy, join them. And what he did was, I don't know how many people, probably 10,000, maybe 50,000. He got people in London Whitehall area, and he basically got people just to come and sing Christmas carols. Now, it's a sort of event that creates the attention without doing anything. Why would 10 or
That's
50,000
brilliant.
people, do that? So yeah, it basically his message is bring Christ back into Christmas, and it's an open message to
Nice.
any religion, not just the Christians.
Yeah, I mean, what harm could come from singing beautiful Christmas carols? I
Oh,
mean, what serious?
we had the lefties calling it a crime. We had the London mayor Sadiq Khan, saying it was racist and all that, and all we was doing,
No, he's racist. That guy is a racist asshole. And he's anti white and he's an asshole. And I don't have any regard for that son of a bitch. Get rid of him. I think that do you know Ant? I've
and
forgotten
yeah,
his family name. What is his name?
which one, Sadiq Khan?
No, Ant is
And
his
Middleton.
first. Ant Middleton. He'd be a great mayor. He should be the next mayor and get rid of that con son of a bitch.
Well, Tommy Robinson and everybody else in the country, they want Ant Middleton, they want Rupert Lowe. Basically, Tommy's just a name, it's not his real name. His name's Stephen Yaxley Lennon. But all he's ever wanted was to unite the country, and it's not about the migrants going. Yes, they're a problem and they have to go. But Muslims, Hindus, let's all hold hands and be brothers and sisters.
Well,
That's
when
the
you've
message.
got white British natives being pushed out of London by this fascist con, what do you think is going on?
It's a holy
It's
war,
really
Tim.
racist.
We
What's
think
that?
it's a holy war that's been created by these governments, and could they be linked to AI? I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, clearly they're trying to push for a civil war
Because
and
obviously governments,
they want to genocide whites. Yeah, they want to genocide whites throughout the West, throughout Europe, certainly North America, probably Australia and New Zealand as well. They want to wipe us out. Just wipe us out. That's what they want. The Shabbat is behind it. So it's Sabbatean, Fabian, Jewish racism against white Europeans. And they talk about the Holocaust. The Shabbat was behind World War I and II and the genocide of Europe. And they talk about their Holocaust as if it's the only one that's ever happened to anyone on the planet. No, they've orchestrated a series of genocides against white Europeans.
I was going to say, artificial intelligence is exactly what our governments have got. They've got no intelligence at all. That's all I can say just now.
That's a good one and very true.
So I know we're jumping subject a little bit, but we've now upset Russia again because the UK have had a couple of soldiers in Ukraine fighting. I'm not sure if the UK government sent them, but they were there fighting against Russia. One of them died, and then Putin found out, and he's basically threatened the UK with war in Europe. We know he threatens a lot, but the NATO chief has now come over the airways a couple of days ago and saying Europe isn't prepared for war and it's going to be a war like no other one, World War One, World War Two, it's going to be worse than that. So God knows why they're scaremongering people at high levels, but I thought it would pass, but no, I think we're gonna.
You think it's going to come to a head, eh?
So I don't know what's going to happen there. So I had a buzz on my computer as well, same time.
Well, when it comes to AI, there's a lot of buzz around the supposed use of the technology, artificial general intelligence, AGI as it's called, and artificial superintelligence. Neither exists yet, as far as we know, but their potential attracts a lot of attention. But to focus on something that might have been created, some experts, including Lennox, are skeptical that AGI is possible and ignore the massive impact narrow AI already has on our daily lives, as well as how it could be used to bring about totalitarian world government. So it mustn't be underestimated, and I think its influence will soon be ubiquitous.
I mean, we've got a lot of hope. Means we're going to put up with it or not. Well, we haven't got a choice, have we? It's coming.
Yeah, I guess.
I mean, that you know it's coming when you see a robot cleaning up in an airport. You think, well, that's just unnatural. It's not normal.
Mm-hmm.
They've even replaced the waitresses and waiters now in the restaurants. You just order it on your app, and then the machine comes and brings you what you need.
So wait a second. You order on your app, and what brings it to you? A
A
little
robot.
little robot waiter.
Yeah. Table three, Mr. Spearman. You've ordered, a glass of latte, two sausage rolls. Hang on, your raspberry cheesecake is coming later. I'll leave these with you now. Mind your hands while I put it on the table. And this is at Glasgow Airport in Scotland, not in London or anywhere fancy.
Wow. Huh. How did you feel about that when you first experienced it?
Well, I saw it mainly on the TV. I've not actually. Well, I went to one airport with Aaron last year, took him to Belfast. We was in the restaurant, but the robot wasn't working. But yeah, it's definitely unusual to see it, even on the TV.
Hmm. So how did you get to Belfast? You took a plane, commuter plane?
Well, originally we went. No, we didn't take a plane there. No, so we got a boat from where we live to the
Ferry
mainland of
boat.
Scotland, and then we drove down by car. Then we got another boat over to Northern Ireland. Then we flew from Northern Ireland to Liverpool, and then we
Ah,
come back by train. Yeah,
hmm.
back home.
Was that your first ever visit to Belfast?
Mine no second, but I think Aaron's been as well. But we've not been that often. Put it that way. Not to enjoy it, just to visit.
Mhm. Mhm. How different is the culture in Northern Ireland to the rest of the UK?
I've been good friends with somebody who just recently died, and I know somebody else who's in Spain. I mean, they've been running away from tyranny and hassle from the courts, making them sell their property. And one guy, Arthur Rafferty, who died recently, he was he spent all his life trying to get justice for his dad. His dad was murdered by the MI5 agents, one in particular called Steak Knife, Freddie Scappaticci, who worked for MI5 undercover. They won't admit it, but only a couple of days ago it came out in the paper that Scappaticci was Steak Knife, and the blah, 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 the IRA said that Alpha Rafty's dad, same name, senior, was murdered by them, and this Scappaticci, was on both sides. So yeah, I know the Northern Irish people, and I just think I can't say they're better than Scottish because I live here, but they're definitely better than the English. They're definitely open and friendly and kind and all that stuff. Go out
Is
their
that
way
right?
for you.
Hmm.
Yeah, they tend to go out their way to help.
I see. What about the rest of Ireland? Have you ever been further south, Dublin or whatever?
I've been to Dublin and Cork a couple of times.
Hmm.
I
And how is
find,
it?
I find,
Yeah.
yeah, the Northern Irish a bit more like the British, the Scottish, the Welsh, whereas the Southern Irish,
Yes.
they have this different feel about them in a very good way. More Scottish and Irish, Northern Irish are really good people, but the Southern Irish seem to be 10 times better at the
Is that right?
hospitality. Yeah.
Much more warm-hearted and friendly.
It's
Hmm.
probably much warmer down there than it is in the north because you get rain.
Oh yeah, I see. Yeah.
Yeah. Any other stories you've got to cover? We've got 10 minutes.
Um, I'm sure I do. I just not sure which one to cover.
Yeah, I guess prepared for for 2 or 3 times, and then something goes wrong. The power cut, the internet
Yeah.
connection, and then you lose track of what you're talking about, don't you? But
Well, you know all about 5G. We've been hearing about 5G and the dangers associated with the radiation from 5G. Well, apparently 6G is now in the offing, and it's going to be even worse, more devastating. We'll be like in a microwave oven with all the radiation. And so there was a story on Redacted about this. The truth about 6G is coming out, and it's more devastating than 5G ever was. We're being burned and dehydrated in a microwave oven, basically. Remember when 180 scientists from 36 countries wrote to the EU demanding they stop the rollout of 5G because of massive health concerns? Remember how they warned governments that we absolutely should not deploy this technology until we've studied the long-term effects on humans. We're being turned to dust by frequency dehydration. Now, this is interesting. Kimchi, Korean kimchi, which is fermented cabbage, restores cell tissues. Ironically, they discuss throwing the phones away. Well, George Freund, for many years, said, dash 'em, trash 'em, smash 'em. In 2018, on Power Hour, he made that statement boldly. Better to have life sucked from within than do that. Life expectancy has been declining in the US since the 5G rollout. So, what would happen with 6G? Well, Gene Roddenberry wrote the Tholian Web for the original Star Trek series back in what was the original Star Trek series? It was in the 1970s, I think. A race called the Tholians tried to secure them in an energy field. There was another episode of Star Trek where people were turned to dust. So, well, Gene Roddenberry's a 33rd degree Freemason, and the story goes that he had special privileges to meet with the government delegation that had a encounter and negotiations with a extraterrestrial race. I believe it was the Galactic Federation or something. So what you see in Star Trek with the diplomatic relations going on between the different star civilizations, apparently it's from firsthand experience that he got that. And yeah, well, how far advanced the collusion is and how captured we are by something higher in the food chain than ourselves, I really can only speculate, but I have a bad feeling about this, Andy.
Yeah,
I think we have a treaty arrangement to. Uh-huh.
I know a
Go ahead.
campaigner in the UK is called Mark Steele. He
Yes.
won a court case because everyone in his area, the local council in Gateshead, basically said, he's a conspiracy theorist. He was very lucky to get a judge on his side, and the judge now basically has told people to keep an open mind. Mark isn't that mad after all. So Mark claims, obviously they're disputing it at Gateshead Council, but this is not just one council, it's every council. The street lights have got some kind of radiation in them or 5G powers. The loads of different street lights anyway is one of the main things. When pregnant women go by, there's proof that it could cause damage to the baby that's unborn. Things like that. And he kept shouting and shouting and shouting. They took him to court, and now they're letting him say what he wants. But he told me on a show a couple of years back, 6G has been, being rolled out even without people's knowledge. and that was a couple of years ago. He said you won't see it in the public face because that'll be 3, 4 years down the line. But 2 or 3 years ago, he said it was being done, and yeah, I believed every word he said at the time because it's if it's a definitely a no, you say, well, look, Mark, that's definitely a no. If it's definitely a possibility, because he explained about the colours and how these things felt, and I mean, he was actually had an engineering scientific background, and he worked also, I think, with explosives in the army. He knew a lot of things about what he was talking about, and he describes everything as a bit like one of these jabs, one of these COVID jabs or one of these pills. They're not good for you. It's a weapon of mass destruction. That's what 5G is. So 6G will, yeah, it'll fire brains, won't it?
So the radiation from these towers will basically cause a massive die off.
Yeah, I think he explained it to me how I understood it.
Yeah,
In a microwave oven, the microwave
yeah.
or the problems are confined to that little box. But when you have a big
Mm-hmm.
microwave on top of a, street light, and it's just going everywhere, there's nothing to keep it compact. So it's spreading its germs everywhere.
Oh, well, yeah, I think it is a danger. I remember Dr. Carly. She used to talk about the danger of these cell phone towers and how they can be weaponized and used on the population. She was warning people about it 20 years ago.
Okay,
I
dokie.
was,
We've just got about a minute now, so
yeah,
that was brilliant again. Talking about this new technology and then the 5G. It's shame we don't get a bit more time, but on Zoom it's difficult.
yeah.